1번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
Without guidance from their teacher, students will not embark on a journey of personal development that recognizes the value of cooperation. Left to their own devices, they will instinctively become increasingly competitive with each other. They will compare scores, reports, and feedback within the classroom environment. Just as they do in the sporting arena. We don't need to teach our students about winners and losers. The playground and the media do that for them. However, we do need to teach them that there is more to life than winning. And about the skills they need for successful cooperation. A group working together successfully requires individuals with a multitude of social skills, as well as a high level of interpersonal awareness. While some students inherently bring a natural understanding of these skills with them, they are always in the minority. To bring cooperation between peers into your classroom, you need to teach these skills consciously and carefully, and nurture them continuously throughout the school years.
2번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
Though we are marching toward a more global society, various ethnic groups traditionally do things quite differently, and a fresh perspective is valuable in creating an open-minded child. Extensive multicultural experience makes kids more creative, measured by how many ideas they can come up with, and by association skills, and allows them to capture unconventional ideas from other cultures to expand on their own ideas. As a parent, you should expose your children to other cultures as often as possible. If you can, travel with your child to other countries, live there if possible. If neither is possible, there are lots of things you can do at home, such as exploring local festivals, borrowing library books about other cultures, and cooking foods from different cultures at your house.
3번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
In the rush towards individual achievement and recognition, the majority of those who make it forget their humble beginnings. They often forget those who helped them on their way up. If you forget where you came from, if you neglect those who were there for you when things were tough and slow, then your success is valueless. No one can make it up there without the help of others. There are parents, friends, advisors, and coaches that help. You need to be grateful to all of those who helped you. Gratitude is the glue that keeps you connected to others. It is the bridge that keeps you connected with those who were there for you in the past, and who are likely to be there in the end. Relationships and the way you treat others determine your real success.
4번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
You are far more likely to eat what you can see in plain view. Organize the foods in your kitchen, so the best choices are most visible and easily accessible. It also helps to hide poor choices in inconvenient places. An even better idea is to simply get rid of anything with low nutritional value that you may be tempted to eat. Put fruits, vegetables, and other healthy options at eye level in your refrigerator, or leave them out on the table. Even when you aren't hungry, simply seeing these items will plant a seed in your mind for your next snack. Also consider taking small bags of nuts, fruits, or vegetables with you when you are away from home. That way, you can satisfy a mid-afternoon craving, even if no good options are available.
5번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
Over the years, memory has been given a bad name. It has been associated with rote learning and cramming information into your brain. Educators have said that understanding is the key to learning. But how can you understand something if you can't remember it? We have all had this experience. We recognize and understand information, but can't recall it when we need it. For example, how many jokes do you know? You've probably heard thousands, but you can only recall about 4 or 5 right now. There is a big difference between remembering your 4 jokes and recognizing or understanding thousands. Understanding doesn't create use only when you can instantly recall what you understand and practice using your remembered understanding. Do you achieve mastery? Memory means storing what you have learned. Otherwise, why would we bother learning in the first place?
6번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
Children may develop imaginary friends around 3 or 4 years of age. Imaginary friends are only a concern if children replace all social interactions with pretend friends. As long as children are developing socially with other children, then imaginary friends are beneficial. Parents often will need reassurance about imaginary friends. They should be respectful of the pretend friends, as well as of their child. Children who create imaginary friends should never be teased, humiliated, or ridiculed in any way. Parents may tire of including the friends in daily activities, such as setting an extra plate at dinner, but they should be reassured that the imaginary friends stage will pass. Until then, imaginary friends should be respected and welcomed by parents, because they signify a child's developing imagination.
7번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
We usually take time out only when we really need to switch off, and when this happens, we are often overtired, sick, and in need of recuperation. Me time is complicated by negative associations with escapism, guilt, and regret, as well as overwhelm, stress, and fatigue. All these negative connotations mean we tend to steer clear of it. Well, I am about to change your perception of the importance of me time to persuade you that you should view it as vital for your health and well-being. Take this as permission to set aside some time for yourself. Our need for time in which to do what we choose is increasingly urgent in an overconnected, overwhelmed, and overstimulated world.
8번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
When trying to convince someone to change their mind, most people try to lay out a logical argument, or make a passionate plea as to why their view is right and the other person's opinion is wrong. But when you think about it, you'll realize that this doesn't often work. As soon as someone figures out that you are on a mission to change their mind, the metaphorical shutters go down. You'll have better luck if you ask well-chosen, open-ended questions that let someone challenge their own assumptions. We tend to approve of an idea if we thought of it first, or at least if we think we thought of it first. Therefore, encouraging someone to question their own worldview will often yield better results than trying to force them into accepting your opinion as fact. Ask someone well-chosen questions to look at their own views from another angle, and this might trigger fresh insights.
9번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
Sibling rivalry is natural, especially between strong-willed kids. As parents, one of the dangers is comparing children unfavorably with each other. Since they are always looking for a competitive advantage, the issue is not how fast a child can run, but who crosses the finish line first. A boy does not care how tall he is vitally interested in who is tallest. Children systematically measure themselves against their peers on everything from skateboarding ability to who has the most friends. They are especially sensitive to any failure that is talked about openly within their own family. Accordingly, parents who want a little peace at home should guard against comparative comments that routinely favor one child over another. To violate this principle is to set up even greater rivalry between them.
10번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
In 2003, British Airways made an announcement that they would no longer be able to operate the London to New York Concorde flight twice a day because it was starting to prove uneconomical. Well, the sales for the flight on this route increased the very next day. There was nothing that changed about the route or the service offered by the airlines. Merely because it became a scarce resource, the demand for it increased. If you are interested in persuading people, then the principle of scarcity can be effectively used. If you are a salesperson trying to increase the sales of a certain product, then you must not merely point out the benefits the customer can derive from the said product, but also point out its uniqueness, and what they will miss out on if they don't purchase the product soon. In selling, you should keep in mind that the more limited something is, the more desirable it becomes.
11번. 다음 글에서 필자가 주장하는 바로 가장 적절한 것은?
Patricia is eager to be the best mom she can be, but she finds parenting a hard task. Here's how she put it just when I think I have it down. Then something changes, and I have to make major adjustments. Parenting well feels like a moving target. Patricia is correct. In fact, much research has been done on the developmental stages of childhood. Babies learn to sit up, then crawl, and finally walk. Kids have a greater ability to reason as they get older, and logic makes sense as they move further into pre-adolescence. A logical implication of these developmental changes is that parents will need to make parenting shifts along the way. In other words, the one strategy to keep in mind as your children grow and change is that you must also change to meet their new developmental needs and abilities.